Good day, I'm Ben Strauss and I'm from the CPE 31. So right now we're going to discuss the Republic Act 1075, also known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. The first question, what's the case all about? This case involves a consolidated petition challenging the constitutionality of various provisions of Republic Act RA 10175, also known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. The facts. And the cybercrime law was enacted by the Philippine government with the aim of regulating the access to and use of the cyberspace. Cyberspace has become an indispensable platform for a wide range of activities, from accessing information, communicating, to conducting business and vital transactions. However, the cyberspace has become enabled various mischiefs and crimes to be committed such as ruining reputation through defamatory posts, hacking into bank accounts, trafficking in illicit material like child pornography, and cause damage to computer systems and networks. To address these cybercrime concerns, the government enacted RA 10175, which criminalizes certain acts and empowers law enforcement to monitor and investigate cyberspace activities. Petitioner in this case argued that provisions of cybercrime law violate the constitutional rights. The government, on the other hand, contends that the law is reasonable and necessary measure to put order in cyberspace, punish wrongdoers, and prevent harmful attacks on the system. Number two, the issues. The key issue revolved around the constitutionality of specific provision of cybercrime law, including those criminalizing acts such as illegal access to computer systems, data interference, example, damaging or deleting computer data, cyber squatting, bad faith accusation, and domain names, identity theft, cybersex, child pornography, unsolicited commercial communication, or spam, online libel. Other challenge provisions deal with the penalties of cybercrimes. Simultaneous prosecution under both the revised penal code and the cybercrime law. Real-time collection of cyber traffic data by the law enforcement. Preservation, disclose, search and seizure of computer data. Powers of Cybercrime Investigating and Coordinating Center or CICC. Petitioner also unconstitutionally liable provision in the revised penal code. And number four, what's the ruling in these cases? A. Unconstitutional provisions. Section 4C3 penalizing unsolicited commercial communication spam. The court found this provision too broad as it could infringe on the right to free expression. Section 12. Authorizing real-time collection of internet traffic data by the law enforcement. The court ruled this provision lacked sufficient safeguards against abuse and invasion of the privacy. Section 19. Allowing the Department of Justice to restrict or block access to suspected computer data. The court deemed this provision overboard and potential violate of free speech. B. Valid and constitutional provision. In Section 4A1, 4A3, 4A6, 4B3, 4C1, 4C2, criminalizing various cybercrimes, the court found this provision to be reasonable exercise of government police power. Section 6. Imposing higher penalties for crimes committed using ICT. The court upheld this as a valid legislative prerogative. Section 8. Prescribing penalties for cybercrimes. The court deferred the legislature and creation of setting the penalties. Section 13, 14, 15, 17 on preservation, disclosure, search, seizure of computer data. The court found this provision constitutional as the part of government law enforcement powers. Section 20, 24, 26A, an obstruction of justice and the CICC. The court held this provision is a valid. C. Online libel. Section 4C4 on online libels valid, constitutional only for the original author and the libelous content, not for those who merely react to the shared post. Charging the offender under both Section 4C4 and the revised penal code provision on libel would violate the constitutional provision against the double jeopardy. D. Aiding and abetting. Section 5 on aiding or abetting is valid and constitutional only for certain cybercrimes not involving free speech. Example, illegal access, data interference. However, Section 5 is void and unconstitutional for cybercrimes related to the online libel, child pornography, and unsolicited commercial communications. The court found this provision to be bad and overboard, potentially chilling free expression. Uh, the last question, the key takeaways. The court recognized the government legitimate interest in regulating cyberspace activities to address cybercrime concerns. However, it emphasized the need to balance this with the protection of fundamental constitutional and rights and liberties. Provision that deem overboard or vague or lacking in sufficient standards were struck down, as the court found that they had chilling effect on the constitutional protected freedoms, especially freedom of expression. The distinction made between the original author of libellous posts and those merely reacting to it online highlights the challenge of applying traditional criminal law concepts, the novel context of cyberspace, interaction and communication. The decision underscores the need for carefully drafted cybercrime legislation that avoids constitutional infirmities given the unique and complex nature of cyberspace activities and potential impact on civil liberties. In essence, the court sought to strike delicate balance between government's duty to combat cybercrimes and imperative to uphold fundamental constitutional rights. This required a nuanced approach in evaluating the specific provision of cybercrime law. And that's all. Thank you.